What's good? What's good, everybody? Glad that y'all can make it out to another episode here of the Oaken. Well, Isaac Simon presents the Oaken, and today we'll be going back into the Bible to continue the jealousy series that I have here on Joseph. And this time will be it's titled Part Five. Fruitfulness despite of suffering. And this time we'll be going into the Bible to show how Joseph's dream of his success is coming into fruition and how his suffering prepared him to handle the plague that's coming. So we'll be going into Genesis chapter 41, verses 50 through 57, and then chapter 42, 1 through 21. Give me a moment. All right. All right. Got my place here. All right. So we'll be starting at Genesis chapter 41, verses 50 through 57. I'll give everyone time to get there. Uh, thank you, Lawrence. Thank you, Lawrence. Ah, thanks, Judge Zilla. Thanks to everyone coming out today. Um, from Lawrence to Un Grande, Nimmelman, Smooth, Taylor, uh, Coolin, Chris G, Judge, Green Machine, everyone. Peace, 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 and blessings to everyone. All right, I'll start. Genesis chapter 41, verse 50. Now, two sons were born to Joseph before the years of famine came, whom Asenath, a daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, bore to him. Joseph named the firstborn Manasseh, causing to forget, for he said, God has made me forget all my trouble and hardship and all the sorrow of loss, all the sorrow of the loss of my father's household. He named the second son Ephraim, fruitfulness. For God has caused me to be fruitful and very successful in the land of my suffering. Um, these this part here where he names his children and the meaning of their names is the reason why I chose the title for it. The fruitfulness despite the suffering. Um, his first everything that he'd been through his enslavement. He still um, hadn't forgot his purpose. He still remembered the dream, and he still was working toward that fruitfulness, even though he had this suffering. He had enemies against him, no matter what he did. But he still remembered his dream, and he did not stray from it. He still was prosperous. He still worked towards it and kept his mind and his focus on his purpose, regardless of all the detractors. So that's why I call this title. Uh, Starting with verse 53. When the 7 years of plenty came to an end in the land of Egypt, the 7 years of famine began to come, just as Joseph had said they would. The famine was in all surrounding lands, but in the land of Egypt there was bread, meaning food. So when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried out to Pharaoh for food, and Pharaoh said to all the Egyptians, "Go to Joseph, do whatever he says to you." When the famine was spread over all the land, Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold surplus grain to the Egyptians, and the famine grew extremely severe in the land of Egypt. And the people of all countries came to Egypt to Joseph to buy grain because the famine was severe over all the known earth. Um, it just goes to show that his dream of him being over his family, which I started in the part one, his dream that he would be over all of his family members, his brothers and his father and his mother. Um, it's come to fruition now because Pharaoh has seen. Well, Pharaoh believed anyways because of the simple fact of his track record of everything that he has said before with others had come to pass. And he also is known and seen through his attendance or through his assistance. Pharaoh has heard this news of how everything that Joseph has done, how everything under his care is prospered. So he's seen that it would be foolish to not leave Egypt under Joseph's care during this incoming famine that was going to happen. And so he knew that it would only prosper. And he knew also that he would there prosper so also. So now moving on to Genesis chapter 42, and we'll be going with verses 1 through 20. Allow everyone to get there for a minute. Thank y'all for coming out. Don't forget to hit that like button on the way in and subscribe if you have not. And thanks to all my new subscribers who have subscribed. It is appreciated. All right, reading verse 1 in chapter 42. Now, when Jacob, Israel, learned that there was grain in Egypt, he said to his sons, "Why are you staring at one another in bewilderment and not taking action?" He said, "I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy some grain for us so that we may live and not die of starvation." So 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain in Egypt, but Jacob did not send Benjamin, Joseph's younger brother, with his brothers, for he said, "I am afraid that some harm or injury may come to him." So the sons of Israel came to Egypt to buy grain along with the others who were coming, for famine was in the land of Canaan also. Now Joseph was the ruler over the land, and he was the one who sold grain to all the people of the land. And Joseph's half brothers came and bowed down before him with their faces to the ground. When Joseph saw his brothers, he did recognize them, but hiding his identity, he treated them as strangers and spoke harshly to them. Basically here, hiding his identity, meaning what happened here is he spoke through an interpreter to them to hide his identity. So, he didn't have to actually directly face them. And he said to them, "Where have you come from?" And they said, "From the land of Canaan to buy food." Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. And like I said, also when you take into account that he spoke to an interpreter, and also it's been 20 years since they last saw him, and they never expected him to be what he is now. And so they actually, they probably expected that he was actually dead also, being they did sell him into slavery. So being 20 years had passed, they had no expects of him. They had no expectations of him being alive, probably, let alone being in this position that he was, because they never expected him to actually be ruling over them. Moving forward with verse 9. Joseph remembered the dreams he had dreamed about them and said to them, "You are spies. You have come with a malicious purpose to observe the undefended parts of our land." But they said to him, "No, my lord, for your servants have only come to buy food. We are all the sons of one man. We are honest men. Your servants are not spies." Yet he said to them, "No, you have come to see the undefended parts of our land." But they said, "Your servants are 12 brothers in all, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. Please listen. The youngest is with our father today, and one is no longer alive." Joseph said to them, "It is as I said to you, you are spies, and this way you shall be tested by the life of Pharaoh. You shall not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you back home and let him bring your brother here, while the rest of you remain confined, so that your words may be tested to see whether there is any truth in you and your story, or else by the life of Pharaoh, certainly you are spies." Then Joseph put them all in prison for 3 days. Now Joseph said to them on the third day, "Do this and you may live. For I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers be confined in your place here in prison. But as for the rest of you, go, carry grain for the famine in your households, but bring your youngest brother to me. So your words will be verified and you will not die. And they did so. And it ends there at verse 20. Um, but I want to point out here that a lot of times we go through different obstacles in our lives that we end up focusing on the problem instead of on a solution or instead of on our purpose. So we don't actually see a way out. Um, it just goes to show here that when you focus with this story, it shows here when you focus on a solution and when you focus on your purpose, there is a way out. It's foolish to not expect different problems or detractions that are going to come into your life. Everybody's got something that's going to happen, some worse than others. But to focus, it's more important to focus on what you can do versus what you can't do. And you can come out of these situations. And yes, on specials, yes, the reinforcements have arrived. Yeah, peace, Anu. Please, peace to you, Blaze. At peace to you as well, Bliss. And Cooling, yes, salute to everyone. Thank y'all for coming out. But I'm going to close this down. That concludes the introduction for the topic, and be opening up the barbershop panel here to have a great discussion on this and how it applies to our everyday lives. But I want to thank everyone. Thanks to all my new subscribers. If you haven't, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you also haven't, go ahead and subscribe as well. Like I said, I appreciate all my subscribers. Appreciate all the support from everyone. And peace, everyone. Peace. And I'll be opening that up here right here in a minute. Thank y'all.